friends! Are you ready for the next couple of chapters of Dark Day in the Deep Sea? We're going to start this time with chapter 3. Ready? A creature named Henry. Jack threw his book into his pack and quickly ran to join Annie. "Hi," he said to the three men. "Don't be afraid," said Annie. "We come in peace." The three men kept gawking. Who are you?" one of the sailors sputtered. Jack and Annie walked closer. "I'm Jack, and this is Annie," Jack said. The man in the bow tie stepped forward. He had a long mustache and a big friendly smile. "My name is Henry," he said. "I came ashore to look for rare butterflies, plants, and shells. But it seems I have found a rare creature called a Jack and an Annie instead." "And we found a rare creature called a Henry." "I beg your pardon," said Henry. She's teasing," said Jack. "What an unusual wit," said Henry, his eyes sparkling. "Well, you've not only found a Henry, you've also found a Joe and a Tommy, the two able seamen who rowed me here." "Hi, Joe and Tommy," said Annie. She gave the two sailors a big smile, but Joe and Tommy didn't smile back. They were both scowling. "Where are you from?" Joe asked suspiciously. "Frog Creek, Pennsylvania," said Annie. "Where is that?" asked Tommy. "America," said Jack. "How nice," said Henry. "Why are you here?" "Well, we're on vacation," said Annie. "We're camped with our family back there somewhere," she waved vaguely. "Vacation," said Henry. "Our parents like to vacation in really out-of-the-way places," said Annie. Henry chuckled. "Americans." "Are you a scientist from the HMS Challenger?" Jack said. He was eager to change the subject. "Why, yes," said Henry. "I am one of the team trying to solve the riddles of the deep." Jack loved the sound of that, riddles of the deep. "What kind of riddles have you solved so far?" he asked. "Well, for one thing, we've learned that the ocean floor is absolutely teeming with life," said Henry. "You didn't already know that?" asked Annie. "We thought it was probably the case," said Henry. "But mind you, many people cannot imagine the life can exist in an icy darkness of the deep. In fact, some still believe that there's no floor to the ocean at all. They think the ocean goes down forever." "Are you serious?" said Annie. "Huh. I guess you'll be letting them know that most of the ocean is not more than 2 miles deep. Of course, some ocean trenches are deeper than 6 miles, but—" "Annie," said Jack. "My, you know a lot about the sea," said Henry, looking at Annie with curiosity. "Well, I know that the mountain ranges and volcanoes are down there too," said Annie. Jack leaned in close to Annie. "Stop showing off," he said under his breath. I mean, maybe, just maybe," Annie said to Henry. "Of course, I'm only guessing." "You are a very good guesser," said Henry. "On our voyage, we've collected many volcanic rocks from the deep." "Cool," said Annie. "How'd you get them? Mini subs?" "Mini subs?" asked Henry. "You know, that carry you down into the deep sea," said Annie. "Annie," said Jack between his teeth. He gave her a look that said, "Just stop." Jack was pretty sure mini subs hadn't been invented by the early 1870s. He quickly changed the subject again. "And you study butterflies too?" he said, pointing to Henry's net. "And seashells?" "Indeed I do," said Henry. "I came ashore to search for a rare shell just now, and I think I may have found its cousin." He opened his book to a page that showed a pencil drawing of the shell. "Would you like to help us look for more?" asked Annie. There they are, and there's the shell they're looking for. "Why, thank you," said Henry. "But I have quite successfully found what I came for. We'll be going back to the ship now." "Oh, please, can we visit the HMS Challenger?" Annie blurted out. Out of the question, said the sailor named Joe. Well, said Henry. Sir, the captain would never approve of bringing children on board, Tammy broke in. It's absolutely against the rules. Henry looked at Jack and Annie. Jack didn't want to break any rules, but at the same time, he really wanted to visit the ship. We'd really like to learn more about our sea exploration, he said. He gave the scientist a hopeful smile. We promise not to get in anyone's way, said Annie. And our parents like us to learn new things. Henry turned back to the two seamen. Surely such bright and curious young people should be allowed to visit our ship, he said. Since we'll be drifting and dredging in the area all day, we can return to the shore before nightfall. Joe and Tommy frowned at each other, but Joe finally gave a quick nod. Yay, Annie said. Thanks, said Jack. We promise we won't cause any trouble. See that you don't, said Henry with a smile. Joe and Tommy, would you mind lending the two visitors your life preservers? Never fit 'em, sir, said Joe. Well, we must do what we can to keep them safe, said Henry. The two seamen grudgingly handed Jack and Annie their bulky vests. So these are old-fashioned life preservers, thought Jack. The vests were made of blocks of cork tied together. Even though Jack buckled them tightly, it hung low on his body, almost slipping off. I'm afraid they are rather big, said Henry, but they still might save you should we capsize. Don't worry, said Annie. We're really good swimmers. We should go now, sir, Joe said impatiently. Yes, yes, Henry said. Let us be off. Joe and Tommy pushed the rowboat into the shallow water. While Jack and Annie had been talking with Henry, the water had turned choppy. Black great clouds had rolled in, hiding the sun. Climb in after me, Henry told Jack and Annie, and they followed him into the rowboat. Jack's backpack wouldn't fit over his life jacket, so he clutched the pack to his chest as Joe and Tommy pushed the boat farther into the ocean. The sailors jumped in and picked up the oars and began rowing back to the ship. Chapter 4. Off the ship. The wind's against us, Joe said as he and Tommy rowed. Even after the boat moved past the breakers, it kept bouncing up and down on the swell of the waves. Water splashed over the sides and soaked Jack's clothes. But Jack wasn't worried about the wind or water. He was worried about being seasick because waves of nausea started to come over him. Sorry, it's a bit of tough going, Henry said. We can take it, Annie said. We hope, thought Jack. The last thing he wanted to do was throw up, especially in front of Jack and Tommy. We should get back just in time to see the men haul up the morning's catch, said Henry. This is so fun, said Annie, her eyes shining at the little rowboat bobbed up and down. Jack wasn't having any fun at all. To keep from being sick, he gripped his backpack, closed his eyes, and gritted his teeth. Every day we make new discoveries, said Henry. Off the coast of Argentina, we found over 100 new species. Giant worms several feet long, shrimp the size of lobsters. Caught them in one net, didn't we, Joe? Aye, said Joe as he pulled up the oars. But the creature that's never been caught is the one that mates should be worried about. What creature is that? Asked Annie. The great monster, answered Tommy. Jack opened his eyes. What? You mean like a shark? He asked. No, lad. 'Tis much worse than any shark. Even the 20-foot tiger shark that has been following us, said Tommy. The sailor blinked nervously. Whoa, a 20-foot tiger shark, thought Jack. He looked at the dark water for a shark fin. Aye, the monster's much bigger than any shark, shouted Joe. They said it looks like a cross between a dragon and a gigantic starfish. Nay, more like a floating nest of snakes, mate, said Tommy with a shudder. They say it'll curl around your body and strangle you to death. A floating nest of snakes? Annie asked. Jack gulped. He turned to Henry. Have you seen the monster? He asked the scientist. Henry shook his head. I've never seen it, he said. but a few of our crewmen claimed to have glimpsed something monstrous in the waters just yesterday. Don't be scared, mates, Joe said. If we see a monster, we'll hurl our harpoons at him. We'll shoot him with our cannons, said Tommy. He and Joe laughed loudly. Maybe the sailors on the ship are just trying to scare the scientists, Jack thought hopefully. Why else would they be laughing? When they reached the SMS Challenger, the rowboat drew alongside the big ship, rocking along the water. Jack gripped his pack tighter as more waves of sea sickness washed over him. You go first, mate, Joe said to Jack. You're looking a bit green. Clutching his pack under one arm, Jack grabbed the side of the ladder. He held on tightly and climbed from the wooden hull of the ship up to the top deck. Annie came after him, then Henry, Joe, and Tommy. When they were all on the deck, the two seamen hauled up the rowboat. Jack took a long, deep breath. Though the large ship rocked in the wind, it wasn't nearly as bad as a small rowboat's movement on the waves. Looking around the deck, Jack saw teams of sailors working. Some were coiling thick ropes, others were hauling up strange-looking buckets. Jack turned to ask Henry what the sailors were doing, but Henry was staring at a tall man in a white uniform and a heavy-set older man in a dark suit who were walking briskly towards them. The two men were frowning. "Oh no," muttered Henry. "Prepare to meet thy doom." "Who are they?" asked Annie. But before Henry could answer, the man in white shouted, "What have you done this time, Mr. Mosley?" Jack moved closer to Annie. He clutched his pack to his life vest. "Well, Captain, started Henry. "Goodness, what have you brought us from the sea now, Henry?" the portly man asked. "A four-legged, four-armed creature of the deep." "Yes, Professor, it's a Jack and Annie from America," said Henry. "I found the creature vacationing on the island." The portly man smiled. "Oh, I see. I thought perhaps it was the monster that was sighted by some of the men yesterday." "The monster again," thought Jack. "This ship is not a place for children, Mr. Mosley," the captain said gruffly. "Yes, I know, sir," said Henry. "But these two are extraordinary. They hardly seem like children at all. They're quite independent and have great knowledge of the sea. I thought it might be permissible to bring them aboard for the afternoon and then return them to the shore." "I'm afraid it goes against all ship rules," said the captain. "It's not Henry's fault, Captain," Annie piped up. "We begged him to let us visit the ship." "Ah, did you now?" the portly man asked, eyes twinkling. "Why is that?" "We love the ocean," said Annie. "And we'd really like to learn more about sea exploration, sir," said Jack. "Well, you've come to the right place," said the man. "Allow me to introduce myself. I am Professor Thompson, the scientific director of the Challenger." "The professor is one of the world's most renowned experts on the ocean," said Henry. "Wow," said Annie. "Well, I don't know about that," the professor said modestly, but he put his thumbs in his vest and began speaking as if he were giving a lecture. "Since the beginning of time, the secrets of the deep have been hidden from us, but now, with our expedition, we have learned many things." "Like what?" asked Jack. "We have used miles and miles of seal wire to measure the depth of the ocean," said the professor. "We have lowered thermometers to measure temperatures in the deep. But perhaps, most important of all, we are learning about the amazing creatures who live in the dark regions far beneath the ocean waves." "That is all well and good, Professor," the captain broke in. "But I want these children off the ship immediately, before the weather gets worse. Do you hear, Mr. Mosley? Off the ship!" So that's it for today, guys. Don't forget, tell Mom and Dad to sign you up for Mote Marine this Friday so you can get a look at your own sea creatures. See you tomorrow.